are as a country. I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call the police station, before they even leave, they take permission from
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
the struggle, the ASU strike.
We saw the education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a life. The president never gave me any deadline.
It's a beautiful day here, and so good to have you right there joined us on Global Television this morning as we bring you the weekend edition of Global Morning. My name is Ramsey Enoch, and of course we have so much going down in Global Morning today because it's a blessed day and we are excited that everything is working out because Nigerians are very resilient people who are able to thrive in the midst of economic challenges irrespective of what the situation is. Today we will have some major discussions on Global Morning, and that's not all. We will get started with the national dailies. We'll begin with the headlines. What are the papers saying this morning? We need to bring you to speed with what the papers are saying before we get into the two big conversations that we have for the day. Well, I know you're getting ready for the events. Saturday is day is for events, but then the festive period just came and gone. This is a new year, and of course January. How many events do we have today? Irrespective of time, I know a lot of people have events irrespective of the time of the year. It could be a symposium, it could be a workshop, it could be a training. It mustn't be a party, but then whatever event you're having today, we wish you all the best and we wish you a very successful weekend. But then we need to know that the economy of the nation is taking shape gradually. This administration is really trying. Why did I say so? Because gradually we are beginning to see light at the end of the tunnel. Local government autonomy taking shape gradually, and that's one of the things Nigerians have actually clamored for. A lot of people celebrated. And another good news is the fact that governors have now said, okay, the tax bill can actually go ahead. They are subscribing to it right now, even though there are some adjustments that they feel should be done as far as the sharing formula is concerned. I was just wondering, why is everyone so particular about the sharing formula? All right, but then I think it's part of the system, it's part of it, because if it is properly shared, at the end of the day, everyone will go home happy. But then it's not just getting a fair share of the tax, but then how is it going to be used? Who is going to supervise the usage of the monies coming from this tax to the state governors down to the local government council? That's what matters right now. All the same, it's a good and welcome development, but then the price of fuel going up again is one of the things that Nigerians are so surprised at right now, because I think Nigerians were really excited when the news of reduction in the price of fuel came up, beginning from the Dangote refineries, but later on they said, well, the effects and of course what happens at the parallel market go a long way affecting the price of fuel down here in Nigeria, because the price of the crude in the international market and the international market will go a long way affecting the price of the refined product right here. But what about Dangote refinery that we have here? We've got the crude right here, refined right here. So why should the price actually affect us when we're not taking out to refine and bring back? Before now it's been exported and re-imported, but now we have a refinery here. Even though the refinery, they said, may not be able to service every Nigerian who may need the product. What about Port Harcourt refinery? Minimal operation. Where refinery, minimal operation. It's part of the reason why I said there is somehow light at the end of the tunnel yes, with all of this in place, I know things will really get better. But then, I think NNPCL and the federal government will need to look into the hike in price of fuel because it will translate into other foods. But then, are Nigerians ready to face more hardship than they are facing right now? Yesterday in the papers we heard that some women have gone out to start scavengers go to the dustbin, go to where they feel there can be remnants, and they will pack them so they can feed their kids. It was on the papers yesterday so that they can feed. And the federal government have also given assurance that something will be done about importation of food. I could remember there was a time the federal government talked about importing grains from Russia, and a lot of Nigerians were happy about it, and the fact that export duty on food items, grains and some food items will be actually reduced or even cancelled completely because of the scarcity of food that we have in Nigeria. Why the scarcity of food? This is one question someone may be asking right now wherever they are. And why do you really have this scarcity of food? It's because of the insurgency. Herdsmen attack on farmers. They can't go to farm anymore. Flooding in some parts of the country have actually resulted to people not going to farm. And you know what happens? The agrarians don't go to farm. You know what happened? I could even remember during the administration of Muhammad Buhari, it was being said, even right from the time of Jonathan, that some persons don't go to work on Thursdays. They were mandated to go to the farm. That is how important the federal government looks at agriculture. But then, what are we doing? What effort is in place to enable people go to farm? Stopping herdsmen from attacking them. We've had in places like Agatu, local government area of Benue State, where we had a lot of yams coming from the places like Zakibian in Benue State, places like Adoka where we have a lot of yam, some places in the north where we have very beautiful rice production, even onions. All these things are no more in the market. If you can find them, they will be very expensive. Why? Because people couldn't go to farm anymore. Why? Because of the attacks of herdsmen. All these have culminated into why we are having shortage of food in Nigeria right now. Nigeria that has Benue as the food basket of the nation. Benue is no longer the food basket of the nation because I don't know how much food is coming out of Benue State right now. We have a very fertile land. I could remember on one of our programs on Diplomatic Perspective, I had a guest and he talked very, very, very seriously about industrialization, the role of industrialization in international relations, how it can build a country. And he spoke about how endowed Nigeria is with natural resources. Everything that we have is, if it is being harnessed, Dr. Ibrahim Bio actually talked about it, that if the natural resources that we have is being harnessed, Nigeria will be on the global map. And he was making comparison with other countries of the world that actually started the way we started and where they are today and where Nigeria is, and the gap, the margin is so much. And so these are some of the things that the federal government can look into so that we go back to the days of agriculture, the days of mining. Industrialization is very important. Time to look inwards and not just depending on the international market, so that the price of crude at the international market will not be determined in the price of fuel in Nigeria when we have a refinery powerfully running in this country. Alright, let's go on a quick break so we can have time to look at the pages of the newspaper. The newspapers for today, the weekend, the Saturday newspapers are very, very interesting. Stay with us as we look at the papers after this break. it is still Global Morning and Global Television on this very beautiful day. Of course, it's a wonderful day right here, and I'm so excited to be here bringing you to speed with the headlines that we have for the day. It's the 18th day of January 2025. Am I taking us back? Backward never, forward ever. It's 2025, and this is 18th. Wow. The month is running. What is the paper saying on this 18th day of January 2025, beginning from the Vanguard newspaper? On the Vanguard newspaper this morning, we have these headlines. The Saturday Vanguard. Why I committed over 1.5 billion naira to humanitarian causes in 2024. That is Peter Obi talking. Why I committed over 1.5 billion naira to humanitarian causes in 2025. There is the kicker. Ighodalo, PDP tender over 1,000 documents against Okpebholo's victory. Well, I don't know, that's politics. I think we'll be looking at Edo in one of our discussions on Global Morning today, because so much happening there. Sometimes when we feel the battle is over, that's when it actually gets started. And today, it's no different. We're just hearing about Edo. What about River State? River State? What about Ogun State? Ogun State? What about Kano State? What about Benue State? They just left court the issue of the chairmanship issue, the APC state chairmanship issue between Austin Umoro and some of the persons. Well, we'll look at all of that. Austin Agada, I beg your pardon, and all of that state paramount. Ighodalo, PDP tender over 1,000 documents against Okpebholo's victory. Some persons may be thinking, at least he has won, he has been declared by INEC. Why not join forces together and push the affairs of the states? But then these documents are coming up, but it won't be substantiated until otherwise ruled by the courts. So if anything is going to happen now, it's going to depend on if they go to court and these evidences are proved beyond every reasonable doubt that they are true. A 2026 World Cup, Nigeria will not qualify for the 2026 World Cup finals. Agree or disagree with this is not more about 250 words. Alright, I think this is a different one altogether. That's more like a quiz. I'm moving away from there. We are not Igbos. Rivers Group strip Mbata of all titles for emerging Ohanaeze president. Details on the Vanguard newspaper. I take that again. We are not Igbo. Rivers Group strip Mbata of all titles for emerging Ohanaeze president. Alright, now the big story says retired AIG's wife kidnapped inside her home. That's on page 6. Inside her home. We should just take cognizance of that. AIG's wife, retired AIG's wife, kidnapped inside her home. That's how porous the security situation is in some locations in Nigeria. I'm not saying everywhere. In some locations, you begin to have this situation of kidnap here and there. But we just pray that she will return to the family. This is one of the things a lot of families face. If you're not really facing it, sometimes you may not really understand what we're talking about. But if it is you who is being faced with this, if it is, we are not praying that anyone be kidnapped, but then if it's not happening to you directly, you may not feel the heat, you may not know how hot and painful it is. So all of us just need to join our hands and pray for the release of the retired AIG's wife who was kidnapped inside her home. Sometimes back we talked about the fact that these kidnappers get into people's homes walk into estates and they kidnap people. And sometimes you'll be wondering, what are the security operatives do? But then, security operatives who are armless, carrying batons, what do? If they see kidnappers who are armed, there is nothing, little or nothing that they can do. Alright, more headlines still coming from the Saturday Vanguard. Stop medical tourism, develop our hospitals. Nigerians tell Tinubu, stop medical tourism, develop our hospitals. We have enough hospitals in Nigeria that can actually be developed. This is coming from concerned Nigerians. And then this one says, Dangote Refinery raises petrol price to 955 naira per litre. Details on page 8. I've talked about that today. I think that's something that must be taken cognizance of. Tinubu commends Abdulrazak, other governors for supporting tax reform initiative. We talked about that already. Details of that you can find on page 5 of the Weekend Vanguard. Abuja thrown into darkness. Abuja thrown into darkness. Details of that you can find on page 9. Let's move away from there and look at the next paper. Next paper is The Punch. We're still bringing you the headlines from the national dailies. This one says, I'm beginning with the big story right here, which says petrol pump price surged to 1,150 after Dangote hike. Meaning, as it is now, other filling stations, okay, or probably are waiting for whatever happens from the Dangote refinery before they can actually fix their price. Petrol pump price surged to 1,150 naira per litre after Dangote hike. One rider to that story, and the rider says, brace for more price raise. Okay, marketers tell Nigerians, brace for more price raise. Marketers tell Nigerians, accidental discharge, that's the kicker. Grieving family helpless as killer corpse revealed in Freedom. And this one says, my daughter planning wedding to pharmacist before murder. That's the mother of Kwabemba beheaded by the singer Timileyin. Alright, moving away from there, that's on a sad note. This one says, why I've not remarried 4 years after my wife's death. This one is coming from Akaribo, okay, of Renoland, Oba Ajayi. And I still have one more headline from the Punch newspaper, Saturday. Okay, 2 more. Ogun community raised the alarm after gunman abducted retired AIG's wife. That happened in Ogun State. And finally, Unilag female first-class graduates. Their pictures displayed right here. They said what men can do, the women can do much more better. I think that's exactly what we have right here. Okay, congratulations to them. We pray that you are favored at the favor market, right? Now moving away from the Punch, the Saturday Punch, let's get to the next point of call, which is the Nation's newspaper. And on the Nation's newspaper this morning, we have some major headlines. Vandals plunge 60% of Abuja into darkness. Vandals plunge 60% of Abuja into darkness. Still 132 kV underground cable. The second rider said, my office is in darkness, says Adelabo. My office is in darkness. Well, vandals. That's to tell you of how porous the FCT is. How did they get to do this? Vandalize 132 kV underground cables. Cables underground were being vandalized by vandals, and nobody knows how many minutes, how many hours did it take them to do that. For how long have they been doing it? These are some of the things we should be looking at, and that's to tell you that there's so much. Nigerians are saying there is so much still to be done in FCT, the seat of power, as it has to do with security situations. The kidnap, the one chance, everything happening. The lady that was beheaded happened in FCT, in Abuja, or was it Abuja, or some part of Nasarawa, very close to Abuja, as the case may be. But then, I think for vandals to vandalize 132 kV cables on the ground, laid on the ground, that's bad, you know. That's bad. All right, let's quickly move from there. This one says Mbata's kinsmen move against him as new Ohanaeze leader. Two riders to that story. Strip him of all Ikweme chieftaincy title and orders. A second rider says Agbako Ikwere IPC Wichi track words over Igbo in identity. Alright? They are saying it's not an Igbo person. I don't know. Alright, the big story on the Nation's newspaper this morning says a lack of banking details delays first direct local government allocation. I don't know, but then a lack of banking details, does it mean the local government doesn't have a bank account, or the bank account didn't get to the office of the accountant general or whoever that is supposed to dispense that money? Is it that didn't get to the federal government, or there are some detailed documentation that's supposed to happen that has not happened? All right, lack of banking details delay first local government allocation. One rider to that story: 774 local governments, all right, to receive 361 billion naira. That's huge. Local government, I think this might be the first time the local government councils may be receiving this huge amount of money. 361 billion going to the 774 local governments. One thing that is very important here is supervision of how this money is going to be spent, so that somebody's hand may not be in it. Alright, will not be in it and should not be in it. If you know what I'm talking about, you should know. Because sometimes we may say, well, it's not going through the governors again. What about local government chairman who may want to report to their superiors and who may want to do some shady things? But then I think it's so good that the EFCC, ICPC and all the other agencies will be monitoring how that money is being spent. Congratulations to the local government. I think the issue of rural electrification, we don't have transformer, we don't have light, all of that should be a thing of the past. This money is being disbursed directly to the local government and a whole lot of other things, infrastructures, good roads returning to the local government, because as a matter of fact, 361 billion naira is not a small money at all. It's not a small money. All right. We just want to wait until the documentation, the details is being done, so that this money can go straight to the local government chairman. Tax reforms bill, that's the next story. Tinubu hears governors over support. And finally, soldier sentenced to death for mutiny relieved audio. Alright, two riders to that story. Our relations died of shock from death verdict. We've waited 3 years for our retirement, our entitlement, I beg your pardon. Alright, moving away from there, let's get to the next point of call, as our time is fast spent already on the papers, because we get into the first conversation very soon. And as a matter of fact, let's get to a Saturday Telegraph. On Saturday Telegraph, Olosaya report implementation to begin in June. Olosaya report, you can still remember that report. that came during Goodluck Jonathan. So long time, but then this administration didn't it fit to look at the report. Let's look at the report the committee set up. What is still necessary? What is still relevant to this day's economy, to today? Because I know maybe some of the recommendations from the Orosana report may not be compatible with the now generation, or maybe with what is happening now, not even generation, the economy, and the state of the nation. As the case may be, I think the experts who are in charge of this will be able to say and what to do. So it's a good thing, it's a welcome development, and the Orosana report implementation to begin in June. One writer to that story, and the writer says why it's not easy to implement report. Presidency source. Presidency. All right. This one says Buhari's minister associate exit APC. Okay, Buhari's minister associate exit APC. All right. Where are they moving to? They are moving to ADC. Okay, blame abandonment by Tinubu's government. Then the second guy that says ex-AGF Malami needs move. Malami is the one leading the move of Buhari's minister and associates who are exiting APC, moving to ADC. Alright, this one says Lagos Assembly Speaker pledges to upload transparency. Okay, good governance. I take that again. Lagos Assembly Speaker pledges to uphold transparency and good governance. Dangote Refinery raises petrol price to 955 naira from 899 naira per litre for bulk buyers. Alleged $225.8 million debt. Court reserve ruling on GHL First Bank case. Okay, and then finally on the Saturday Telegraph, Nigeria needs 18 trillion naira to fix 2,064 road projects, says Umahi. That's the Minister of Works and Housing. And that's going to be the size of the national dailies for today. Let's go on a quick break. When we return, we'll get into the first conversation for the day, where we'll be looking at something very, very important, a topical issue for that matter, and I will have my guest join me for that conversation. Do stay with us.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper review, latest news with experts on key global issues,
and at the same time keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This
is Global Morning.
back from that break, it is now time for us to go into the first conversation for today. We'll be looking at Edo politics as Okpebholo accuses, as a matter of fact, opposition of tribunal interference. One of the major problems that we have in Nigeria is interference. A lot of people have lost confidence in the judiciary because they feel there is an interference in a court judgment. That is allegedly said. Alright, that is what some Nigerians feel. But then, it's not different from what is coming from Edo State. All of us know the story of Edo State and what is actually happening in Edo State. And as a matter of fact, Edo politics, Okpebholo accuses opposition of tribunal interference. What is really the problem? As a matter of fact, the Edo State governor, that is, we're talking about Monday, Okpebholo's intimidation or manipulation will derail his mandate as the election tribunal sitting in Benin City. That is the Edo State, Benin City, that's the capital city of Edo State. And he said, no kind of intimidation. When someone comes to say something like that, you should know that maybe, probably, there is something that is going on. When he said, no intimidation or manipulation will stop me, alright, will derail me from fighting for my mandate as the election tribunal to the tribunal. There was a slogan that came to stay after the 2023 election. Go to court if you're not satisfied. And a lot of people actually got their mandate from the court instead of getting the mandate from the polls. And that's one of the things that is making Nigerian democracy different from other democracies around the world. Today we are looking at Edo State. For some persons, Edo State election has come and gone, but for some other persons, they are still thinking that it is not over yet, because if not until the final ruling happens from the court, you can determine whether or not the election is done and dusted. But then we have a governor in Edo State right now after the election, and he actually spoke, or Okpebholo spoke through his press secretary, that is Fred Itu, yesterday, that the governor condemned alleged attempts by the opposition to interfere with the tribunal process, and that's very, very intimidation and manipulation. We'll be thinking, what is he really talking about? Then he went down to tell us what he meant by intimidation and manipulation, and he said that includes intimidation, sponsors of talks, peddling of fake news, and a premature declaration of victory and affronts to the very foundation of justice system. But then I think we have a very strong justice system in Nigeria that should not be manipulated by anyone, that no one is capable of manipulating. No one should manipulate it, because the judiciary should be held at a very high esteem, and that's how it is supposed to be. So sometimes when we begin to hear things like this, not just from an ordinary Nigerian, but from a stakeholder, someone who is in politics, someone who is a governor, or someone who has contested for governorship positions and all of that, it should be a thing of worry. Nigerians are not really comfortable with these issues, because sometimes when election come and it's been conducted, you feel, well, the electorate have voted and their votes should count. But when you get to the tribunal, it means the election is now being substantiated by the judiciary, which is not supposed to be, because this is democracy we are practicing here. It's a government of the people, for the people, and by the people. So when we see interference from the judicial system, from the judiciary, it seems to somehow alter the definition of democracy. But when a situation gets to a crossroad, instead of anarchy, what we will be thinking about is going to court, the so that you can seek redress. If you're not comfortable with an election result, what you need to do is not violence, but then seek redress at the court of law. And even if you are not satisfied, you can move to the appeal court. From the appeal court, you can move to the Supreme Court. We've had cases like that, electoral cases in Nigeria like that actually get to that level. But then the issue of intimidation is what is not so clear right now, because as a matter of fact, we need to actually get connected. We have someone who is supposed to join us right now to really give us his heads up. I mean, that's what is happening in Edo State. He is a public affairs analyst and is a human rights activist. He is also a legal practitioner, and he is going to be joining us. Alex Obo is scheduled to join us on this program today. As soon as the call has been established, we'll let you know. But then we're talking about things happening in Edo State. Why do we always have election results, people who are not contented? Some Nigerians will tell you, well, these things happens because it is slim. It is very slim. The chances of people just accepting electoral results is slim in Nigeria. You see a lot of people going to court. You know, some persons, even if they don't go to court, they will tell you, no, this election was rigged. My candidate was supposed to win and all of that. I've seen, I don't know, an election that was conducted. I'm not saying all elections have disagreements and of course people not accepting the result, but majority of the elections we have in this part of the world have cases, situations like that. And we are looking forward to a time when we can have elections to be free and fair, and people can say, okay, congratulations, we really won. I think in one or two places it happens like that, but the issue of going to court, it's not just going to court now, but manipulating the process. Okay, oppositions manipulating the process. We know that oppositions are meant to checkmate the activities of the ruling party, the ruling administration, the sitting government. Okay, but the issue of manipulating the tribunal, but then how manipulatable is the tribunal? These are questions we should also be asking. How manipulatable is the tribunal? Is it just a mere statement? Alright, because sometimes when you hear things like this from politicians, you need to sit down and think about it very well. If you say the oppositions are trying to manipulate the tribunal, maybe to make things go in their own way, and he went forth to say why he actually say all of that, the use of thuggery and of course intimidation. But he said for him, he will not be derailed by intimidation, alright, and he's not ready to compromise anything. And at that level, you begin to think, why can't we just allow, and the reason why I'm saying this is not just even because of the people in governance, because Nigerians, the people of Edo State, need someone that will lead the affairs of the state smoothly without any problem. And that's what it means, because so much needs to be done, especially in a challenging economy such as this. It's so good that we heard this morning that about 321 billion will be going to the councils. But then let's see what happened. My guest is right there. Let's have him join us as we talk about this, even though time is fast spent. It's good to have you on the program this morning.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right, let's quickly go to Edo State. We are looking at Edo State this morning, and of course, you already know the topic of the day, what we are talking about, Edo politics. So many things have happened in Edo and still happening, and of course, it's so good. I think one of the things that make this program and this topic so interesting having you on it is one, you are a legal practitioner and you are a human rights activist and a political analyst. And let's look at it. What is your take? How does this statement sound to you? All right, when you heard that Okpebholo is accusing oppositions of tribunal interference, does it sound new, or it is something you feel is possible?
That about the antics of Nigerian politicians. Each time a matter is before the tribunal, you see back and forth allegations and accusations. The PDP is accusing APC. APC is accusing PDP, of manipulation, of intimidation. We are used to all these. But the truth is that the petitioner, Asue Ighodalo, the governorship candidate of PDP, has tendered documents, about 1,000 certified true copies of relevant documents for that election, before the court. And the APC candidate has said that they will reserve their comments during the final addresses, So this is what is relevant and important now. But coming to say the tribunal is being manipulated, the governor is just playing to the gallery to whip up unnecessary sentiments. That Nigerian politicians are used to all this. The tribunal is always inclined to what is presented before them, and they will take time to evaluate that in line with the law. He's saying that there is manipulation. That holds no water at all. But the politicians always do this to whip up sentiment, so that if the judgment doesn't go in their favor, they will tell that after all, we raise our voices and all. We are used to all this, and that should not move any of us at all. The tribunal is always an unbiased umpire to evaluate the documents, sift through it, get the facts, juxtapose it with the law, and come out with what is germane and relevant. The antics of politicians, we are used to it. That should not move any of us. Thank you so much.
Okpebholo actually went ahead to say the people of Edo State deserve a tribunal process that is, of course, fair, transparent, and accountable. What does that mean to you?
You see, like I said, it's the antics of politicians. The tribunal cases are done in the open. During the hearings, people are allowed to come and sit in tribunal just like it's happening in regular courts. So that is the transparency you can talk about. People witness how the documents are tendered, how the witnesses come to testify, and all. It's done in the public, it's done in the open, it's done during the daytime, not night. That is transparency we're talking about, and nothing can be more transparent than that. So any other thing he's saying is the same thing that PDP will be saying. All the briefbats and back and forth, we are used to. They're always doing that in order to cast aspersions, if allowed, and that should not move any of us.
All right, let's quickly look at the issue of discontentment after elections. It is not new in Nigeria that most times it's difficult for politicians to actually concede defeat, and it's part of the reason why we have fought back and forth in some states today. What would you have to say about the fact that instead of the electoral office holders to emerge from the polls, they emerge from the court? And in previous times, we've had some form of inconsistencies coming from the judicial system, and that has made some Nigerians, to accuse the judiciary of compromise, and it could be part of the reason why this cry is coming from Okpebholo.
You see, why definitely Nigerians will resort to tribunals after elections is the clear facts of what happened during our election. Like that of Edo, vote buying was so clear. It was an issue of the thing going for the higher bidder. People knew the amount that APC offered and what APC was giving to people buying their votes higher than the amount the PDP offered. The vote buying is wrong, actually. All the parties got involved in that, prominently the APC and the PDP. So as long as votes are being bought and other manipulations happen, and also there were allegations of the right results not being uploaded and all the rest, as long as those abnormalities happen, people must have to resort to the tribunal, because there were manifest injustices, there were malpractices clear to people during those elections that showed that things were not clear and fair. That's what we make people to go to tribunal. If they don't ventilate their pains to the tribunal, they will resort to violence and the country will burn. So definitely, as long as vote buying occurs in this country, as long as what happened on February 25th, 2023, when IRA was switched off by the INEC, that was supposed to be an unbiased umpire during the presidential results collection process, as long as such a thing happened, people must have to resort to tribunals until there's clear fairness from INEC that will make people's minds to be at rest that what he declared is actually what happened. But as long as there are also those malpractices from INEC that are very clear, we must have to resort to go to court. That's the reality of the stage we are in this country as at now.
Let's look at this. There is a mentality that Nigerians have. If any political case is going to the courts, they feel there is always manipulations. That's for Nigerians now, not even politicians. And that boils down to the fact that a lot of Nigerians don't believe in the judicial system. We are legal practitioners. Now, what can you say to correct the mentality of Nigerians, because they feel the sitting government will always have it when any case gets to the court?
Actually, it's not all the cases that have gone to court that the sitting government won. We have a good number of cases where the sitting government was thrown out by the court. But what Nigerians need to know is that the judges had to rely on relevant laws in evaluating the evidences that are presented before them, the facts before them, the documents tendered, the witnesses that were able to be mustered. You know, election case involves a lot of people, and so much facts and documents are needed for you to be able to establish your case. And it's not always easy. Within the short period that the tribunal is supposed to sit, for a petitioner to be able to gather all the facts needed and tender all the documents and produce all the witnesses, that used to be a Herculean task for a petitioner to meet up with the threshold of the number of witnesses, the number of the documents to be tendered and all. So the inability to gather all these things together makes it difficult for a petitioner most of the time to establish his or her case. And people, from what they felt during the elections, will be looking at it that, we saw this thing clearly that the right thing was not done. Why is it that the petitioner did not uphold the petition? But these are the facts before the tribunal which the judges work on, and the judges cannot do otherwise. Only that our prayer is judges should be bent more on substantial justice, not technical justice. They should not allow technicalities of inability to tender certain documents when they have done a good work of tendering documents and producing witnesses. If the facts have a mind with relevant laws, we expect the judges to uphold where necessary. But everything boils down on what facts that we are able to be tendered before the judges, and the witnesses that testified, and the ability to substantiate using those things. So those are the major things that the tribunal or the judges have to contend with, which the people need to understand.
And before I let you go, let me just ask this final question on behalf of Nigerians. As a matter of fact, a lot of Nigerians believe that the judiciary can be manipulated, and it's part of the reason why Pedolo is saying this, that the opposition are trying to do some manipulations with the tribunal. Is it possible, all right, looking at previous antecedents as a legal practitioner, is it possible, is there any possibility of manipulating the tribunal anyway?
You know, for, the person that should even be crying wolf against manipulation should be the PDP that is presented the petition. It should be the PDP, because the sitting governor has a lot of influence now. But like I said, politicians do a lot of things that are not supposed to be done. So they know what they are doing, and they know the kind of things they are doing behind the back, which we don't know. They are the ones that can give a clearer explanation to this. Because for us, we are only looking at the issues that before the court. We don't know what goes behind. It's the politicians that can substantiate that, not us.
All right, thank you very much for your time on the program this morning. Finally, before I let you go, what assurance will you want to give to Nigerians? Because a lot of Nigerians don't believe so much in the judiciary like it used to be. Back then, it's been known that the judiciary is the last hope of the common man. But right now, as we speak, if you move to any Nigerian now and you talk about the judiciary, they look at judiciary as a tool of the government. What would you have to say, at least, to correct that mentality a little bit?
What I have to say is that we expect the judiciary, like I said earlier, to bend towards substantial justice. Avoid technicalities. Technicalities can always favor the politicians and the government in power. The substantial justice brings out the last hope of the common man. We expect to see substantial justice from the judiciary, and as long as that happens, the faith of the common man and the masses will be restored. We need substantial justice from the judiciary, not technical justice. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much, Barrister Alexander Ogbo, for joining us on the conversation today. I think this is fruitful. We are glad to have you on the program.
It's a pleasure. I'm always available. Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us. Have a wonderful day ahead of you. And of course, this is going to be the size of the first conversation where we just looked at every politics, where Opebolo is saying the opposition party are trying to manipulate the tribunal. And of course, we just had the legal practitioner speak to us. He's also a political analyst and a human rights activist. I think what is common in Nigeria these days is the fact that if anyone is not contented, if anyone is not okay with election, which is supposed to be done and dusted at the poll, gets to the court where the judiciary, the judges decide who rules the people instead of the people deciding who rules them. And that's where the anomaly, if you want to ask me, is, because if everything can be done and dusted at the polls, it will be better. So if the people vote and their votes count and someone emerges, I think the other persons could actually concede defeat and just congratulate the person who won and give the person a full support, especially when someone have already taken the lead. And you know the people actually voted for the person. Not because you have money, then you go to court and all of that. But then if you're not contented, why not? The court is there. And of course, you're free to go to court. And that's what we are told. In 2023, a lot of persons went to court. Some got it, some didn't get it. And some were of the oppositions, they got it, and some were of the sitting government, and they also got it. And that's how it is today on the first conversation. Let's get a quick break. After this break, we'll return and we'll get into the second conversation, which is going to be coming immediately. Stay with us.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper review, latest news with experts on key global issues,
and at the same time keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Welcome back. It is still Global Morning, this beautiful Saturday morning. Well, I know a lot of people are already getting set for the event, but now it's time to talk about something very serious, so that as you're going out today, you know that yes, we're part of a discussion. We want to look strictly at what is happening between Fubara and Wike, a new feud coming up, and it's worth talking about. So let's quickly talk about that. As a matter of fact, the PDP crisis, the crisis in PDP, not just PDP, there are a lot of other parties that are having issue, even the Labour Party, even the sitting party, the APC, and someone said something that there is no party that's void of crisis, that the crisis even makes the party stronger. And I was like, wow, I'm not a politician, so I wouldn't know. But Nigerians sometimes become very curious, and it becomes worrisome when a particular crisis tends to linger than expected. Okay, this crisis can come anytime for any reason, but for how long is it supposed to stay? Because we're talking about governance here, all right? In courts today, out of court, one problem today, another one tomorrow, for a very long time, over a year since Fubara assumed office. How smooth has the office been for him? That's what we are looking at today. We are looking at the Wike-Fubara feud that divides the National Working Committee members. That's to tell you that this is already creating faction already in the People's Democratic Party. Then we're talking about opposition. We're talking about 2027. We're talking about real card-carrying members of the People's Democratic Party and their aspirations. Some of the aspirations it's already been dashed. Some persons are already disappointed at the party. Some persons are disappointed at individuals in the party. But no matter what happens, the People's Democratic Party's crisis is deepened as National Working Committee divide over Wike and Fubara feud, and that is for the People's Democratic Party. And I will have someone join me to talk about this. After this break, I will have Abdulrahman Balogun join me. He is editor-in-chief. That's the Nigerian agency, news agency of Nigeria, and of course we'll have him join us on the conversation, and that will be after this break. Stay with us.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper review, latest news with experts on key global issues,
and at the same time keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range and the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Break, let's get to what is happening in Rivers State. The PDP crisis is worsening right now, especially that of Fubara and Wike, which has now divided, the feud has now divided the NWC members, and that's to tell you of how serious this crisis is. Joining us is the editor-in-chief, news agency of Nigeria. He is a media person, and of course he is joining us. His name is Abdul Rahman Balogun. It's good to have you on the program this morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, let's quickly get to Rivers State. What would you have to say about the feud between Fubara and Wike? The thing keeps coming up on a daily basis, and I don't know what you think about it right now. It has lingered for a long time. Some Nigerians are thinking it has overstayed. No matter what the problem is, it's supposed to have been resolved by now. What's your own school of thought?
Well, thank you for that question. Well, it's interesting because the matter has gone beyond normal, what you can call party crisis. It has gone beyond what you can call personal crisis. We now have series of litigation. Series of litigation for the issue. We have matter in court in Rivers. You have in Abuja. So many issues. So as a result, even if people want to mediate, they have to wait for the outcome of the court or the matter is withdrawn from the court. At the personal level, you can see ego coming up because this camp is playing to a kind of what I can call a pirate treaty, either pronounced from the court or ruling from the court. So physical manifestation of the court pronouncement in Rivers State. I witnessed what happened in December. To have a series of rally that was one rally by the Minister of FDC, which is I think TV or something like that, and then the sitting governor also have a similar happening in Rivers. Gathering support from elders and supporters within Rivers and beyond. And these two events, they were televised live. And people use that opportunity to talk about it. So, and even PDP at the national level, I'm surprised they couldn't do anything because they themselves are part of the issue. I think that's what I want to say for now.
Okay, now, as it is right now, a lot of people will be thinking that, this issue is not supposed to linger like this because a lot of people look at the People's Democratic Party as an opposition, a strong opposition that should give the All Progressive Congress a run for their money, that is the APC. But looking at this now, are you permitted to say now, can Nigerians say it is going to be a free flow for APC in 2027 because of the disunity in the PDP?
You can see that this camp in Rivers State, they are trying to outdo one another. They are trying to outdo one another in getting control of the soul of PDP secretariat. It's either today you see the Kumar camp trying to take over the control of the secretariat, or the Wiki camp trying to control the so PDP in essence is the opposition of itself in Rivers State. At the national level, well, I cannot see any opposition because let's even look at it. The Wiki fashion, you can never say they are here nor there. And you never look at they are neither here nor there in PDP. The Fubara fashion is also the same because look at the local government election they had. It was one party, AFDP, that struck the Opo in Rivers State because the PDP said they are boycotting the election. The APC said they are boycotting the election. And then a party that is unknown to majority of the stakeholders came on board within something people country came on board and struck the poll it was that the party was responsible and being coordinated by the sitting governor of Rivers State.
All right. Can you say that at this point the feud between Fubara and, of course, Wike needs an intervention, and who do you think should intervene? Because right now the National Working Committee is divided. All right, some on the parts of Fubara, some on the parts of Wike. So if there should be an intervention at this point in time, who should intervene, and how do you think it should be done so that this party can actually stand the test of time?
Like I said at the beginning, the intervention has gone beyond who should intervene now. The intervention is what is going to be the outcome of all the court cases that have been initiated by the two factions. The time that the carry out to have been missed in the board has passed. You recollect that when the crisis started, the sitting president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, intervened, and they had what we can call an Abuja Accord that the two factions should go and implement. The two factions claimed they are implementing it, but then at the fees, that was in the midst of that accord. I will not say from one faction or the other. That is one. That was also a committee set up by elders in Rivers State. But then people allege that the elders already teach their test. They are not neutral. So the matter could not be resolved. And we have to take the matter to court. So we start presenting to the outcome of the court to now act as what I can call national for their own action. So this is at the national level, as the rapid is also pacified. As you know, we have to get it back with that this week. We discovered that the secretariat that also conduct this want to cut our secretary at the PDP national secretariat. So the conviction is there even at the national level. And the PDP at the national level, we call it as between what I can call, we have to take their test. It's either with the governor or with the FCC minister, which is Trump. So I want to say what I said before. I think it has gone beyond personal intervention. The solution to that problem is the outcome of the court and the notice of the court decision. Very clear and powerful that I'm aware of cases that are in court. From the legislative angle, they are in court. From the local government stuff, they are in court. The opponents, they are in court. And then on the legislative of who is even the authentic chairman and the authentic executive or chairman of PDP. We are in court. Because within the state, certain fashion loyal to Kubana, another fashion loyal to Wiki. So it's an ongoing crisis, and it's quite unfortunate.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Abdul Rahman. Let's get to talk about the people of Rivers State now, because all of these things, when two elephants fight, there is a saying that the one suffers. What do you think of the people of River State right now, not the Minister of FCT and the governor anymore, but then what do you think of the people of River State? Do you think there are ways that this feud going on could actually affect the people?
Hello?
Yes, go ahead. Which are the ways?
I agree with you. I agree with you that we got to suffer to everyone fight. But in this case now, it seems to me that the river people, this time they are enjoying the crisis. Because this time they are trying to solve the problem, the two camps, including people, it seems they are enjoying the crisis. So, I think what is solving is governance. It's governance giving us the impression that it will shock Nigerians, it will shock River people, that governance is not something that is working on, and it's not distracted. It's not allowing anybody to distract its government in River State. And unfortunately, the people that we and I think that will be solving, they are benefiting immensely from the crisis. And that's why this crisis is moving on like this. Because if the matter is resolved, a lot of these supporters will lose their patronage. Because from the two countries, I can't understand that so my supporters, I do not tell you to go and burn this. I do not tell you to go and destroy this. That means the supporters of their own are doing something outside the rule of law, which is counterproductive, and which is against the development of the state. So the advantage from it, the governance everything is somewhere. Assuming there is peace, assuming there is no destruction, even if Governor Umara has leadership, he will have achieved more. Even the time they are using to seek promises, which reduce this and that, going to court, and they are trying going to respect a progress commission, a progress destroy, what happened? Several houses have been set established, several buildings have been demolished, either from government side or the other side. I mean, it's not the same government money they use in rebuilding it. Don't forget, the first casualty of this was even the state legislature. The state House of Assembly, one of the best complexes you can ever think of. State Assembly in this country. It was set up late, and then it got demolished to ground zero. So, by the reach capital goods wasted. So that's why I'm saying that people are enjoying, because it's all of them that use the contract again to reduce and all this. But the governance is definitely something. Thank you.
Before I let you go, our time is almost running out. If you want to talk about crisis, it is not just that of PDP alone. Even APC too have their own areas where there are gray areas where there are crises too, like Benue State, for instance, the APC state chairmanship, Tozu, there is an issue there. Then that of the Labour Party, Abure emerging as the person recognized by the court right now in the Labour Party is one thing. And the crisis in Labour Party, some persons are saying Labour Party has come. In 2023, Labour Party was more like the savior party for some Nigerians, but now APC is there, and people are thinking Labour Party should be preparing for 2027. But then there are still crises in the Labour Party, and some persons are saying if there should be crisis in any party at all, it shouldn't be the Labour Party. But now we have it. Do you see the issue in Labour Party being resolved anytime soon?
Well, I think it was just yesterday that Court of Appeal, I think it was the Court of Appeal, affirming the decision of the lower court that Julius Agulu is the authentic national chairman of the Labour Party. You see, that's what we are talking about country. When you allow it to fester, when you allow ego to come in, then you don't wait for the decision of the court, and then you drag yourself to the court. Then once you drag yourself to the court, that means you've already surrendered your sovereignty, your power, your wisdom of settlement of conflict to whatever the outcome of the conflict. So let's leave the conflict pronouncement affirming Julius Agulu as the authentic national chairman. It's all of them. It's similar to happen in Accra, and the that of APC, I think the APC is not nationalistic in nature. I think just out of pockets of disagreements like the very you mentioned and some other states like that. And that's why people from other parties, they find it very easy, especially in the National Assembly, to dump the party because the Electoral Act has given room for that. That is that the division of carries within your party. You can change the agenda, you can change your party and still retain your seat. So you can see more than 6 at least, more than 6 members of the Labour Party have rejected from that party to join the APC, the House of Reps. So that's one of the things of division in a political party. So it's cut across all of them. If you have some other Labour Party, even starting in Kano NNPP, as well as it is, they also have their own internal finances. So I think politicians can learn how to manage their crisis. Crisis everything will come, but they should learn how to manage it. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. The Editor-in-Chief, News Agency of Nigeria, Abdulrahman Balogun, he's the one that has joined us on the conversation today. It's so good having you on the conversation today. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Well done.
All right, this is going to be the size of the conversation this morning, and as a matter of fact, well, it has been established, even though the crisis is common to political parties, so many things need to be done so that this crisis don't escalate and begin to bring in sentiment and a long-lasting feud between members of these political parties, because Nigeria is one. Irrespective of our political differences, we are still one, and everyone should have the nation at heart, all right, to really know that what we are doing, what every politician is doing is just for the good of the nation and not for personal interest. And that's the reason all these crises should end, should have an expiring date. Thank you very much for staying with us on Global Morning. Today has been a very wonderful time. It's time for us to bring Global Morning to an end. Thank you for staying with us. My name is Ramsey Enoch. Have a wonderful weekend ahead of you. Bye-bye for now.
From flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies too, for sure.
Incidentally, we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rate as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call the police station, before they even leave, they take permission from
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
the struggle, the ASU strike.
Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a life. The president never gave me any deadline.